Hey David, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go plus ultra?
Oh my.
Yeah. We didn't rehearse that. That is not part of the script. There is no script. Welcome everybody. All right, this is your video. You should do that.
Hello. Welcome to the very dead channel of mine. I'm
Nice.
sorry, but I'm very busy with the music one.
You're doing a lot of music stuff.
But I've been watching a lot of anime.
Yeah.
Specifically My Hero Academia. All 4 seasons.
And both movies.
And both movies, yes.
Are you kidding me?
Low battery.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
It is now an hour and a half later.
All right.
The time is 11:43 p.m. Forgive me if I seem out of it, but I'm tired. But we gotta talk about the show.
We're gonna get into it. So here's how we're gonna break it down. We are going to break down arc by arc. We have some notes written about all of the arcs. Afterwards, we're gonna talk about like our favorite moments from the show and a couple of like important side characters and just like give brief thoughts on all of them. So with that being said, let's dig into the arcs. So first arc, Deku getting his powers, all of the school stuff before the USJ attack.
Okay, well we watched the first like 4 episodes
Something like that.
a really long time ago.
I tried showing the show to him a long time ago and he just wasn't feeling it. And then like a year later, just tells me that he started watching the show again. Much to my surprise, because it was the last thing that I expected to hear. Anyway.
Yeah, and I didn't rewatch the first couple episodes, so I don't remember them too well. But yeah, the entrance exam, we see, Deku. Yeah, man, I'm fucking out of it. But
it's okay, we got this.
Deku. Nope, maybe not. Deku.
Yeah.
Deku meets Ochako and stuff, and then Bakugo's an asshole.
Yeah.
Good entertainment. Not much is happening. It's season 1. I mean, what do you expect?
Introduced to all of the class once Deku gets enrolled.
Yeah, just here's the characters. Here's a couple entrance things.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
You get to see everyone's quirks. You get to learn what the show is about. Cool show about superpowers that are super unique with a lot of characters that they go into, that they give a lot of character development to, and this is just the introduction to a lot of them. So after all the school stuff, which is really cool. First of all, things that you don't like that kind of persist throughout the rest of the show. We're just going to touch that and move away from it now because, again, it persists through most of the show and it's just one of the, pardon my pun, the quirks of the show. But flashbacks,
Okay, yeah.
inner monologues, and one character in particular.
Yeah, okay, so the exact moment I knew that this was a problem was the training facility part.
Yeah, so the next arc, the USJ attack.
Yeah, they get to this training facility and the League of Villains first show up. And Deku says a line where he says
we thought we were going to be practicing saving other people's lives that day, but when they appeared, we realized we were the ones in danger.
And I was like, okay. And this goes on through the entire show, that it treats its audience like they're complete dumbasses.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like they have to explain everything. The characters always got to explain everything that's going on in their head. This show won't go like 5 seconds without someone talking or saying something. Always someone's inner monologuing or someone's talking. And I'm just like, oh my god, just shut up for a second.
And I will say that is, it's not a problem that's specific to anime, but I feel like a lot of anime adapt this quality because a lot of anime are adapted from manga. So in manga you have thought bubbles and you have blank boxes of text that are just describing what's happening, like maybe it's a narrator, like the main character setting up a scene or something, which works for the manga format, and when translated to anime, it's something that you either learn to live with or absolutely hate. And I found that the more anime I watch, I just get used to it. and it's a nice contrast to all the action parts where there aren't people talking to themselves. But with that being said, it can be kind of annoying when it happens a lot. And this show in particular it happens a lot more than I'd say other shows, because Deku is such an overthinker and because he's such a careful planner. Like, even characters that aren't Deku do it, but it happens a lot. So, like, I get that.
Yeah. And keep in mind, the only other anime I've seen is Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be comparing it to that. But, like, when there's a shot of just, like, two characters, like enemies, just, like, looking at each other or, like, anticipating attacks, and it's just them staring at each other, and, like, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to see. It's like, you know what's going on in their head.
Yeah.
They don't need to be like, oh, I've trained so long for this moment. If he does this attack, I'm gonna have to do this. But if he does that, maybe I can hit him with this attack. You know? And it's that the whole show.
It does get better as the show goes on.
No.
I'll say.
Problem number 2.
Yeah.
How many times do I need to see the scene where Deku is sitting at his computer, crying to his mom, being like, can I be like that guy one day? How many times do I have to see All Might saying, I give you my power? Yeah. They play the same shots over and over again.
Yeah.
So much. And it's like, yes, I have seen this part. You don't need to keep explaining it to me.
Yeah.
Problem number 3 is Mineta. Fuck Mineta. Mineta is trash.
One of the least liked characters in anime, just period.
His powers are trash.
Yeah.
He looks like trash.
Yeah.
His personality's trash.
Yeah.
And his voice is trash.
Yeah.
Complete garbage all around.
So, with the bad stuff out of the way, let's continue with the show. So, the next arc, probably the first, like, the most consequential arc that happens immediately in the first season is the USJ attack.
All I know from season 1 is just meeting them and then the attack on the location. That's about it. And then, Mr. Aizawa gets fucked up.
He does. But we get to see him in action, which is really cool. Shigaraki is an edgelord, more so in the first season than in later seasons. Like, he makes a lot of references to video games. Eric Hale, he's a great voice actor of Trunks. He is a voice actor in other notable shows. In this show, the way he voices Shigaraki is very like Dark Knight Joker impression, where it sounds like this, and the limited range of how you can speak in this voice kind of makes it sound a little too edgy, which is fine, I guess, to a point. And again, like most issues in the show, as the show goes on, I feel like it gets a little better. It's a little bit more subdued later on, but like early on in season 1, the issues that plague the series are like most apparent, which is why it's my least favorite to go through whenever I go through My Hero, because I've gone through it a couple of times. But yeah, so season 1, it's a fine introduction to the show, but I'd say season 2 is really where it begins to pick up, and that leads us right into the Sports Festival arc. So Sports Festival arc, we get a lot more character development for a bunch of major characters. We get some minor character development for characters that we just meet in season 2. We get some Shinso stuff. We get to meet Mei Hatsume. Tell me about your thoughts about the Sports Festival arc.
Yeah, I thought that this is the point where I was like, okay, this show's pretty decent. You know, we get some good moments. Deku's a smart mofo. Obstacle course, you know, the whole thing is like filled with mines.
Yeah.
And then he gets the idea to use the armor and blast his way over it. I was like, that's cool. That's cool. You're using your powers to, like, you know, win the thing. And he wins it. He gets in first place. Yeah, just great moments between, like, Bakugo. Total cunt. Just all around. I thought he was going to, like, maybe get better as he goes. But no, he's like that the entire show.
Yeah.
At least up until season 4.
That's just who he is. He and his relationship with Deku remind me a lot of Goku and Vegeta, where like their characters stay pretty true throughout the whole show, even if they change a little bit. This is where the comparisons to Dragon Ball kind of stop for me, because Goku, static character the entire show, like he never changes, like he just gets stronger, but like his whole thing is I want to fight strong enemies and I like to eat. Whereas Deku, his character changes a whole lot, and Bakugo's character changes a whole lot, but like in a way that Vegeta's does. Like he gets a little bit softer over time, but like Vegeta's still like the prince of all Saiyans. Like his pride is still his main feature, and like that's Bakugo's too. So like his passion and his like meanness stems from that pride. But as the show goes on, we see how that pride is molded by events that happen in the show, and how he projects that pride in different ways. So, but yeah, the sports festival is a huge moment for him because he wants to fight Todoroki at his full power, but Todoroki doesn't give that to him. So that's the start of Bakugo's like snowball character development. Same thing with Todoroki, but yeah, great character moments. And then
it was fun seeing like them go head to head.
Yeah.
In like competitions and stuff.
Every great anime's got a tournament arc. Yeah, let's face it. But then at the very end of the tournament arc, we get some Stain stuff and we get some Ida stuff, who for a while was like your favorite character. So tell me what that meant to you.
Nick, you have to review it, make reviews very well.
Yep.
I have to go. I don't know. It's just that he was just funny.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
I choose my favorite characters by how much they entertain me, and Ida very much entertained me.
Right.
But then, yeah, he had a great moment with Stain
after his brother gets attacked.
Yeah, and then he's like, I must avenge you, and he tries to go fight Stain, but can't do it by himself. Luckily, Deku's there.
Yeah, and then Todoroki shows up, gives Ida the same motivational speech and words that Deku gave to him during the sports festival. Another really cool moment or aspect of this show is how events, no matter how small they seem when they happen, they affect later moments in the show, like so far later. And Deku's words to Todoroki affect his character development for a really long time. And part of that is talking to Ida and talking through Ida's traumas too. So, Stain, what do we think?
Cool villain. It was like if he licks your blood, you're paralyzed, and like the length depends on your blood type.
Yeah,
which was pretty interesting.
Super unique.
One of the few villains that doesn't have shit all over his face, but just the way they wrote him out was just weird. The whole punctured lung or whatever.
Yeah,
it was just so weird. It was just so random. I was like, okay, well, I guess that's the end of him.
Yeah.
For now.
For now, yeah. We don't know what happened to Stain ultimately in the end, but I'm sure we find out later. But yeah, moving right along, we get into the second half of Season 2, the final exams arc. So kids get back to school stuff. And in the final exams arc, we find out that the students of Class 1A are all fighting the teachers in pairs. So some examples are Frappy and Tokoyami go up against Ectoplasm, and the point of these exams are to pair not only students that are either really compatible with each other or very uncompatible with each other and see how they get through these tests, but it's also to pair them up with teachers who put them at a disadvantage. Whole arc is fun because we get to see a bunch of power sets and power combinations that we normally wouldn't get to see. The end test with Bakugo and Deku going up against All Might is just one of the highlights of the show. But what do you think about the final exams arc?
Yeah, final exams, one of my favorites. I think just one of the really great moments of the show is just seeing everyone has just so many different powers, unless you're talking about Kirishima and Metal Guy.
Oh, Tetsu.
We're just the same thing.
Yeah.
But there's just so many different combinations you can do, and just seeing them going up against teachers was really cool, especially the All Might one, because like they were listing them. It was like Kirishima was first, but then last was Bakugo and Deku versus All Might. I was like, oh hell yeah, this is gonna be sweet. And sweet it was.
Yeah, we get to see them work together, which as part of their journey with each other, they start out as like, Bakugo thinks of himself up here and Deku down here. Then Deku gets a quirk, and then Bakugo starts to feel self-conscious because like Todoroki is better than him and blah blah blah. And now these two are at odds and they have to work together to beat All Might, who is like all the way up here. So they get to work together, and seeing that dichotomy and their dynamic is always super interesting. Like putting Deku and Bakugo in the same fight with each other is just, it's always so fun. Final exams, super fun. End of season 2. Season 3, we start with the summer training arc. Summer camp gets infiltrated by the villains, and the villains start fucking shit up. They start fucking up a bunch of students at the, between 1A and 1B, which is really disheartening to see because, like, for the first time in a really long time, these kids are being seriously injured, and that sucks because they were caught with their pants down. But anyway, yeah, that all leads up to the capture of Bakugo, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, the Deku versus Muscular fight is intense. Deku breaks his body again. But what do you think about that general arc?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, especially Bakugo getting captured. Because they noticed he was kind of not the same as everyone else.
They tried to pick him off because of that aggressive, passionate, like, mean nature, Like, they thought they could convert him to the dark side. And that leads us into the next part of this arc where we meet All For One in person for the first time since the beginning of the show.
The funniest moment of the show. Yeah, they're trying to get Bakugo on the evil side.
Yeah.
And side note, this is like where I was fully on board with Bakugo's character because, he's really mean and stuff, but, he's still on the good side.
Yeah.
They try to get him to the dark side. And I thought, oh, maybe he might. But no, he didn't. He was like, no, up yours.
Yeah.
Hand face edgelord. But yeah, there's a knock on the door. Yeah, I got the pizza here.
Everyone looks at the door like, who ordered a pizza? And then all of a sudden, boom, like the wall busts open and All Might just starts taking dudes out. Then we get the All For One versus All Might fight. Now, tell me about that. One of the biggest moments of the show.
Definitely one of the best moments. I knew All Might was gonna go down eventually, and I guess this is that moment.
Yeah.
But it was a great moment, Turns to Deku, who's like, yeah, man, it's your job now.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, so All For One gets beaten. Bakugo notices that Deku reacts differently to All Might saying, now it's your turn, than everyone else. Again, another small moment in their relationship. So going into the next arc of Season 3, we have the hero, the hero license registration arc, or the test.
Yeah, I think it was fine. It was kind of like the sports festival. It was just cool to see, now we have more schools coming in. So even more new characters and just more dynamics between Class 1A and everyone else. It was just more fun stuff. We just went through this very serious thing with All For One.
Yeah.
God, it's so confusing. And then, yeah, the first part of Season 4 is crazy. So we have this nice little section, just kind of take a breather. I think this is the arc where Naked Woman shows up.
Yeah.
And I watched this episode at work, and I was sitting there because I had my iPod just laying flat, and all of a sudden this naked woman starts flying around. I'm like, God, I gotta cover this up. Texting Nick, like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
You're gonna tell me no naked woman is gonna show up?
I didn't know you'd get to that part so fast.
And then Nick was like, oh no, she doesn't show up again. But then, keeping information away from me, naked dude shows up later.
Yeah.
Didn't bother telling me about that. I also watched that one at work. I'm like, come on, man. How many naked people are in the show?
Just the two, I think.
Just a funny side story on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, hero license, I think it's fine.
A lot more character moments, cool character moments. Todoroki character development where he interacts with his dad, Endeavor, some more, and he learns that, like, hey, I just got to be a better person from now on because I'm not going to make the same mistakes as my father. Cool stuff. The last couple episodes of Season 3 are Deku versus Kacchan Part 2. We got All Might and All For One discussing how they're both raising proteges and, their cycle of fighting will just continue in the next generation. But yeah, the Deku versus Kacchan fight I think we should talk about just by itself because it means a whole lot for the series going forward. It's like one of the climaxes of the arcs for so many characters.
Yeah. Great episode.
Yeah.
This is where Bakugo kind of stops being... Well, doesn't stop, but he kind of opens up more. Like, he wants to be number one, but All Might chose Deku for some reason.
Yeah.
And he's like, why was it you? You came to this school quirkless, and now all of a sudden you have this thing, and I'm trying to catch up to you, and it's like, why you? And they fight, and
Bakugo's been piecing it together. Like, he's been figuring it, like, because he's a smart kid too. People don't give him enough credit for being as smart as he is, because like as a combatant, as a student, like he gets good grades, like he's a smart kid. So he figured out a little while back that like Deku and All Might are intrinsically linked. But then from this point forward, Deku and Bakugo become true rivals. Like they still argue and they still fight with each other, but like they're starting to be more willing to work with each other, because All Might says something to the extent of, listen, if you two could finally learn to work together and combine your powers into one, you'd be the most unstoppable team. Which again is something that pops up later on in the show and is so satisfying to see once it finally happens. But like from this point forward, Deku and Bakugo's relationship becomes a lot more complementary, like, to one another. And then the last episodes of season 3 introduce Mirio. So we meet the big three of UA. The world kind of opens up a little bit. We meet Overhaul for a second. We get a little bit more backstory on Twice. But it's a cool couple of episodes. So I'm going to let you talk on that for just a little bit.
Mirio is the best character.
Yeah.
Absolutely best character. Like, from the second he showed up, I think he shows up in a wall.
And then he pops up in the ground, and it's just, like, really cool, funny moments that perfectly personify, like, Mirio's character.
Yeah, he's my favorite. Only because his face, he looks like if Ditto transformed into a human. That's what his face reminds me of, and it makes me laugh every time he's on screen.
Yeah.
That's how I choose my favorites. Not powers, just how much they... I think I mentioned this earlier in this video.
Yeah.
But how much they entertain me. And Mirio is just so much fun to watch.
Yeah. We see him naked. That's the naked dude butt part. And he even apologizes, like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for all you to see my willy, but, it's just what happens when I use my quirk. But yeah, let's get into season 4, because up until this point, it has both of our favorite arcs. His favorite being the Overhaul arc, which is the first arc of season 4. So they take out Magna, and he takes Mr. Compress's arm. Probably one of the goriest scenes in the entire show is just blowing Magna up to bits.
It is the goriest.
Yeah.
I remember the second I saw it, I couldn't believe it. Nothing up until this point has been that crazy.
No.
Where someone's arm gets chopped off, and someone's entire upper body gets disintegrated.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my lord, who is this guy?
Yeah.
This guy is Overhaul.
This guy is Overhaul. And
yes, this is the best part of the show up until this point. Between the maniac villain to Mirio.
Yep.
To like that whole heist setup. And yeah, just a great couple of episodes where they go in, they fight a bunch of guys, and they bust her out. It's great moments.
Yeah, dude, we get backstory on Red Riot. We get some Kirishima love. We see him bust out Unbreakable, which is probably one of the coolest power-ups in anime that I've seen. He just looks like a shark, dude. And like, I enjoy the dub of My Hero so much because I think the performances are done really well. Not to say that I don't like the sub, like, because the Japanese performances are also done really well. But there is a moment where Kirishima is going Unbreakable, and you could hear in his monologue when he's like, you need to be indestructible, and like, as more parts of his body harden, you can hear his voice start to get gravelier and more monstrous too. And then like he breaks out Unbreakable, and like that line in his eye like comes across, and he's just standing there. Awesome. Oh my god. There are a couple of really great moments in this arc, but like seeing Deku like hold Eri and like rescue her after so many episodes of just like wanting to get to this girl. Amazing. The scariest that we've ever seen Deku is like when Overhaul, you see his eyes look up as Deku's just like zipping around the sky like fucking Superman, and we see Deku like up, like reigning over Overhaul, like about to punch him, and like you see lightning in his eyes and just like the anger that he's about to unleash on this man as he sends him catapulting back to the earth, dude. It's just done so well.
There was just one scene when they were talking in the initial phases of setting up this heist, when they're all talking, and there's one scene where there was no one talking, no monologuing. It was just the characters and their expressions. And it was one of my favorite scenes because for the first time, and I don't know how long, they just shut up and let like the viewer like just look at the characters and it's like you know what they're feeling.
Yeah.
You know.
It gets better, man. It gets better as it moves on because the story's pacing gets so much better. So they're allowed more liberty to just like use visual storytelling. Shigaraki and the League of Villains get a badass moment where they're like, listen, we won. We're going to take your drugs and we're going to take your quirk. Shigaraki like erases one arm, like disintegrates one arm. Mr. Compress takes the other arm and he has a moment where he's like, for the arm. And he's just like super classy about it and he like walks away, flips his top hat back on his head. This is where the League of Villains starts to become more appealing to me as like a group of characters because like again, this show is really good about like letting all of their characters, like secondary and primary characters, giving them like spotlights and little moments like that really fill out the world. And then we start to lead into my favorite arc of the show, which is another light arc. But that's the reason why I like it so much is because in contrast to the overall arc, this one it's just so feel good. But anyway, school festival arc. Basically, it boils down to putting on a concert. Jiro, aficionado on every instrument. She leads the charge. We find out that a bunch of characters in the class like play instruments, which is really cool. And as musicians, I think it just resonates with us a little bit more because there are moments like when we find out Tokoyami played guitar for a while, but he was bested by the F chord. The F chord is most notably like one of the harder beginner chords to learn because it's just a bar chord. Like you can't really play it without having to bar the strings. So like it makes sense. Like it's funny as a musician because you're like, oh yeah, that chord sucks. Momo plays keys, Bakugo plays drums, which is, I figured you'd get a kick out of that.
Yeah, very fitting. The angry guy gets to pound shit like a gorilla.
In this festival, we find out that there's another villain on the prowl. The villain, as referred to by David as
Mr. Crumpets.
Mr. Crumpets, a gentle criminal who is my favorite villain. He shows up on the scene, and he's not a malicious dude. Like his backstory is also kind of tragic because he wanted to be a hero. He just wasn't good at it. Super great character. Super great like moments because he's not edgy. He has this silly British accent, which I think is done really well.
The only villain who isn't a total edgelord, which I very much appreciated. He was just, he's just a guy who just wanted to be known.
Yeah.
But he's got to get stopped by Deku, of course.
Right.
And he's like, I hope it all goes well for you, Deku, since it failed for me. I was like, okay, well, he's a gentleman. He's a very
good guy.
Gentleman criminal.
Yeah.
As he's known. But yeah, the school festival, the band was really cool. One of, the better kind of side stories.
Yeah, not super action-oriented, but that episode never fails to make me cry. Just between the Jiro backstory about, like, once again, being a musician versus being a hero and, like, following your dreams and in particular, following the dream of like playing music because like that's something we both relate to, and then finally seeing Eri smile after all this time, it relates back to my life again. It's just like super sweet to see like moments in this show reflect real life, and it just hits on a different level. We can't talk about the show without mentioning the last couple episodes of season 4, which center around the Japanese Billboard hero chart. We meet Hawks. For the first time, was a very popular character. I like Hawks. We don't really see him in the anime for very long. He gets 2 episodes, and then he's in the second movie.
Yeah, Endeavor, up to this point, has been a total ass.
Yeah.
As everyone knows. But then, he tries. He's the number 1 hero now, so he tried to, like, sign an autograph for some fans. And they're like, man... You were so cool because you were so mean. And he's like, damn, look, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he fights like the thing or whatever, and he has a great moment where he doesn't give up either, and his family is watching, and they kind of hate him still, but like, Todoroki, I'm gonna make you proud one day, and like that was his moment to make him proud, and then that's it.
That is the show up until this point. Now there are a couple of movies that came out. Two Heroes Rising. Brief thoughts on both of those. I think they're both really good movies for different reasons. I think Two Heroes is a really good, like, traditionally structured movie where there's a beginning, middle, and end, and there's like a hero's journey, and it all builds up really satisfyingly. But the second movie has a lot more action and just like a lot more fan service in regards to seeing characters fight and characters' powers. And the end with Bakugo and Deku is just like anime movie magic. It's just, oh god, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. But super solid movies. I like them a lot.
The ending is a little goofy.
Right.
I mean, not the fact that, he gives them all for one, but like just the convenience of, oh, well, one for all didn't leave you, Deku, and Bakugo completely forgot everything about it.
Yeah.
And everything's fine. It's like, okay, well, great. Isn't that convenient? I thought it was really great how, like, most of the time it's like the kids versus the villain until the pros show up.
Yeah.
But the second movie, it's like it was just the kids. They're all on their own on this island, and the heroes didn't show up till like the very end when it was all over.
Yeah.
So I thought that was neat. How it was just the kids. And they had to figure it out.
Yeah.
How to beat this guy.
And they did. Okay, so now we've talked about the show and a little bit about the movies. We're gonna really quickly basic thoughts on characters and favorite moments from the show. So first off, we got Aoyama.
He's not there that often, but I guess naval laser.
Yep.
What?
He gets some cool moments with Deku where he actually has a personality.
Interesting character. Then Ashido, the weird pink one.
Alien Queen, baby.
I don't know. There's some weird characters. Like there's the principal's a mouse.
Yeah, that's his quirk. He's just a really smart mouse.
I don't know, just funny shit like that. But yeah, she's fine, I guess. I don't know. Just acid quirk. I don't know. Not my favorite.
She's cool. She's quirky. She's outgoing.
Asui.
Right.
There we go. Asui. She's just a frog. I guess he's all right. There's a lot of these characters, and like, obviously some of them aren't going to be like super involved.
Right.
But I don't know. Definitely unique. Is it like a unique? Her voice is kind of like cool, but also weird at the same time.
Right.
It's very like nasally. Then we got Ida. I already talked about him. Just great.
Should have been named Speeda.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to mention that.
Yep.
Yeah, his hero name should have been Speeda.
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
Ochako.
Ochako.
She's probably my favorite character. Just the one that I identify with the most. I love how down to earth she is, but also like she's not afraid to be goofy. She's got a really interesting quirk, which she uses support items in the future to really enhance.
Ochako and Deku. I got really sick of them. I got really sick of their shit. 3 seasons of this fucking bullshit. Oh, she's so close to me. You got a crush on him, don't you?
Yep.
For 3, okay, they didn't do that in season 4. I think because season 4 was too serious for that shit.
Right.
But yeah, the first 3 seasons just, it's like, okay, either do something or don't. I'm sick of you two. All right, enough. But yeah, Ochako as a character, pretty cool. I like her quirk. Make shit float. Make the earth float.
Yep.
Very cool. Ojiro.
His whole thing is just being normal. Like, there's nothing special about him. He's just tail guy.
Yeah. What do you want? He's barely even in there.
Yep. Kaminari.
Kaminari.
Yep.
Okay.
He is also another one of my favorite characters. Again, my favorite characters are just like characters that I identify with the most because it makes me feel like when I watch them, it's like, oh, that's a little bit of me. Like that could be me in this world. So I like Kaminari. I like how goofy he is. He's like the class clown. He's just like a chill bro. He likes to hang out with, Kirishima and Bakugo, and has a crush on Jiro, because like, what musician wouldn't have a crush on Jiro? I mean, I'm not talking about me. He plays guitar. You talk about him.
Yeah, he's cool. I mean, he's got one of those not weird quirk. I mean, electricity is not like that uncommon.
No.
But the downfall of it, when he
Yeah.
uses too much, he just becomes stupid.
Yeah. I like how another reason why I like the show is every quirk is not only super unique, but it always has its downsides. Like, there is no busted quirk in this show except for, like, maybe, one for, or all for ones, where he can just use as many quirks as he wants. But I hate that he's paired with Mineta so often, because it portrays him like this, like skeevy guy, where, like, on a certain level I can understand if he's a teenage boy, he just wants some smooches. But, like, Mineta is a whole different level, and I hate that those two are a pair.
He really wasn't anything until the Red Riot episode.
Yeah.
I think that definitely elevated him to, like, better ones.
Yeah. Cool character. Cool guy. He's a manly guy. Super macho dude.
He started mute, right?
Yeah.
And then he talked randomly, and his voice is weird.
Don't expect the way he sounds.
It's like, what is this rock man supposed to sound like? Hey, guys! Or some high pitch like that.
Yeah, super high pitch.
I don't know. Well, he talks to animals. I mean, he's just kind of like a support guy, along with
You got it.
Sato.
Yes, sir.
Sato over here, Lip Man. I want to say he's like the least involved, like out of everyone.
Yeah, he doesn't really do much.
He barely ever shows up. Shoji, COVID man.
COVID man.
Yeah.
He gets it. Out of all of the C-list characters, I feel like he gets the most screen time because, like, he had his moment with Tokoyami in the forest. In the second movie, he plays a huge role in keeping the kids safe, like, till the very end, where he's just, like, shielding them. And he's a cool guy. I like him.
Yeah, he definitely has a cool design.
Yeah.
Then we have Guitar Jiro.
Guitar Jiro.
That's actually how I remembered her name.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of these characters, because they have fuck names, so I had to think of like a way, like Kaminari. I had to think of Caligari. The Dr.
The cabinet of
Dr. Caligari.
Yeah.
Because Hiroshima. So I remembered him.
Nice.
Yeah. Everyone I had like something, and hers is Guitar Jiro.
Guitar Hero.
So, started off okay. The second school festival made her top tier. Definitely.
She's pretty great. And she's getting a lot more recognition on, like, merch and stuff, which is super fun for me. Like, her and Kaminari are both. I love that they're both getting, like, they're both getting put on merch now, which is so good. It's great for me. I love that for me. Okay.
Probably my least favorite. He's just tape, man.
Yeah.
He just shoots tape.
Well, second least favorite.
Least favorite in the characters that actually matter.
Right.
Tokoyami's a fucking badass. Absolute. Birdman. Yeah, total badass.
Yeah.
I love his tone. His tone of voice is like, just very deep. Just, I do not care. I have dark shadow.
Yeah, I feel like in personality, like, if you were in My Hero, like, you'd be closest in personality to Tokoyami. Yeah. Honestly, just you stay to yourself for a lot of times, or like when you get involved, like, you're just like not even edgy, but just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah, just this dark man. Also, yeah, Dark Shadow's fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's true, Mirio's my favorite, but only because of his design. Okay? If we're talking about soul, character, and power, it's Todoroki. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
He has a really just great arc. He started with just the ice because he didn't want to use fire. But then I think Deku told him, like, it's your power, you use it. And then he was like, shit, dog, you're right. I'm going to use my fire now.
Yeah.
In those exact words. But yeah, Todoroki, actually my favorite.
Yeah. And that episode, Deku versus Todoroki, that was the moment that, like, the episode that solidified to me that this show meant so much more than just, like, surface level action. And, like, it broke me, and I was like, oh, why is this show so good? So Todoroki holds a dear place in my heart too. Hagakure, which I knew you were not going to remember. Invisible Girl.
Yeah.
Quite literally, like, she shows up like very little in the show.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, hey, you're the invisible one.
Yeah, she's there for like reactionary purposes, like when things are happening in the show and they need a character that's really easy to animate. Like she'll like wave her arm and she'll be like, hey, this is happening, blah blah blah. She has a cute thing with Ojiro, I guess, because both of them are sort of plain, so they are sort of shipped together. But other than that, not super special.
All right, big dog, Bakugo.
Yep.
What have we not said already about him?
Yeah, we've really talked a lot about him, and I'm, same with the next character too. Like Deku and Bakugo, we've already talked a lot about. Bakugo, along with Todoroki, is probably one of the more interesting character developments in the entire show, because, he's almost treated like a secondary main character. Because like him and Deku are like two sides of the same coin, like any true rivals are going to be. I love his pride and just how. Like, he doesn't really change as much throughout the series in regards to his pride. Like, his pride is never really shattered, except for, maybe that moment where they fight again. Deku and Bakugo fight. But his pride is, like, his whole character, and, like, his development revolves around that. So, I think they do that really well. I like him a lot. He's super funny, and he has just the way that he fights is just so fun to watch, because like not only is he explosive, but like he's just like every enemy he's like die, and it's just like, oh my god, so fucking metal, bro.
And then what was his sports festival idea, like fight to the death or something?
Yeah, for the school festival he was like a death match, like a cage match or whatever, and Ida was like that sounds very dangerous.
Oh yeah, we even talk about when he won the first one.
Sports festival.
And he's in chains.
Because he's just so angry that Todoroki didn't go all out against him. They have to like chain him up, and he's like foaming at the mouth, and he's just like.
Yeah, just really entertaining character. And Deku, same thing. He started off as a little crybaby, but like he gets some really good moments. But he's our main character, so obviously he's gonna be great. Unlike somebody.
We really don't have to go into it. Just
I already mentioned in the beginning.
Mineta is
fuck Mineta.
One of the worst characters in anime in television history. I
don't understand. If you like him, please explain to me why.
There are very little redeeming qualities about him.
Who out there is a Mineta fan? Who?
People who love fan service, because the scenes with Mineta allow the show to incorporate fan service. Like in season 3, when everyone was in the hot springs, and he was like, "There are girls on the other side of this wall. I'm gonna climb over the wall." And then Koda's like, "Come on, dude. In order to be a good hero, you gotta be a good person." And he just like kicks him off. But we still get to see the girls like from the other side. So it's like, what's even the point? Like you can't condemn Mineta for wanting to see boobies and then show us boobies. But I understand if people enjoy Mineta because like that's their gateway to see anime boobies.
He had one good line. I forgot where it was.
It was in season 4 where he wants to be a part of the band and he wants to play guitar, but then you see him holding a guitar and his arms don't reach, and then he's like, God, why did they curse me with a flawed character design or something like that? And he's running away like crying.
Yeah, that was just one good line.
Yeah. And now we get to the last member of Class 1A. This is like seating chart, by the way, too, like where they sit next to each other.
Yeah, Yayorozu.
Momo herself. Another character with a really interesting character development, where she starts to show, like Todoroki is one of the only kids to get enrolled at UA by recommendation alone. Like she did not have to take the entrance exam. And she starts off pretty snooty. Like she comes from a rich family. Like she loves, drinking expensive teas, and she reads a lot because her quirk requires her to learn about how things are made in order to recreate them with her lipids. But then her ego gets deflated in the sports festival when she gets knocked out by Tokoyami in like a second. And from there, she essentially gets like rebuilt into this like really humble character that like loves to help people out. And she's like the class mom of, like 1A. And it's really sweet to see her interact with friends and like see her get like excited about like learning and studying and stuff. I like Momo.
Yeah, speaking of fan service, when we were Christmas shopping and you were looking for the figure for one of your roommates.
Yeah.
And there was a Momo one, and I remember I was like, what the fuck is this? This typical anime shit with the boobs and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, where is this woman from? And then I watched the show. I was like, oh, it's this show.
And like, all right, I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but if you were using a quirk like hers that you need fat cells for, lipid cells, you're gonna find the most of those right here and on your back. So she has to have those places exposed to use her quirk. Now, is that a good excuse to show her boobies off and her cleavage? Absolutely not. But from a storytelling perspective, the way that Horikoshi wrote her character and her quirk, the character design fits that power.
Yeah, and there's one, she has to like create something big, and I'm just like, I gotta create something.
Oh, right, that's in the first season.
I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, as a character, yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it. Yeah, I mean, that's Class 1A. Then there's other characters, you know, All Might, obviously.
All Might's pretty good.
Which is just Piccolo.
Yeah.
Every time I heard him speak, I just thought of Piccolo.
Right. Yeah, pro heroes. I like Endeavor. We talked about his character arc. He starts out as an asshole, but I like Hawks. Hawks is pretty okay.
Mr. Aizawa.
Mr. Aizawa is just
is great.
So cool.
I think like the first episode he's in, he was like, all right, you all need to pick a class representative. Do it before I wake up. And he just passes out.
Yeah. He, like, the first time we see him is in a sleeping bag, and he takes out like a little juice box, and he's like...
I was like, okay, this is my man right now.
He's got a cool quirk. He's got a cool design. I like Hatsume. You know, I thought she was really annoying at first, but then like you see that she has the same kind of passion to be a hero that Deku does, but she just wants to create support items, and so like she has some funny moments and some wholesome moments going forward. I personally could talk about my hero for so long. It is currently 12:57, and we gotta go to bed. So anyway,
overall, for being the second anime I've seen, well, third, Kai, Super,
right,
and now My Hero, I definitely have some major problems with it. Major problems. But the good outweigh the bad. I will be there for season 5.
Nice.
I will be there for the third movie.
Nice.
I don't know how much more anime I'm going to watch after this. Not a lot. Thumbs up. A thumb up.
One thumb up and 2 plus ultras from me. I will always give this show plus ultras. My favorite show of all time, but that's just me. It just hits home, baby. So be sure to join us as we talk about season 5 as it comes out. Third movie coming this summer. What else can we say?
Nothing. That's it.
Go to bed.
Thank you for watching.